Firstly, I'd like to thank Rich for his kind words about the bridesmaids. You do all look lovely tonight, and you've done a fantastic job. And also, I'm sure the place where we're going for the reception will be amazing as well. So thanks a lot for that, well done. I'd also like to say a big thank you to the ushers. It was a stipulation of the wedding that the ushers weren't allowed to look better than the best man. And I'm pleased to say you've accomplished your role. Guys, well done.
Thanks for the time too.
So when I first started to put this speech together, I had a bit of a browse around on the internet. I bought a few books, did some general research, and basically about what does and doesn't go down well in the best man speech. Apparently swearing is a definite no-no, which is fine because I don't swear, so that's alright. But also is the groom's drunken behaviour, any reference to it, any reference to strippers on the stag do, encounters with the police, anything like that. So basically it rules out me saying anything whatsoever about the stag do. However, I think those were more guidelines than rules. All I'm saying is, if you type in Budapest Mankini lap dance on YouTube, then Rich's video is actually the top one. Last time I looked, it had over 300 views. And, yeah, I mean, it was Rich wearing Mankini, and it was Rich doing the lap dancing. So Rich and Helen, you're finally married, for better or worse. Quite appropriate, really, because Rich could have done me better and Helen could have done me worse. No, joking aside, I thought I'd therefore theme this speech around how Rich and Helen actually first got together and how he first managed to pull such a beautiful and intelligent girl as Helen, basically. Starting from the beginning, Rich and Helen first met in a nightclub called Corporation in Sheffield. Rich noticed Helen's stylish hairdo from a distance, and he thought he'd go over and talk to her. She seemingly wasn't so impressed. When he first went over to her, she introduced herself with a false name. Presumably so she could make a quick getaway. To this day, everyone who knows Helen on Rich's side still knows her as this name, April. So, just to make it clear, if you do hear me later on, anyone on Helen's side, if you hear me refer to her as April, I am actually talking about the same girl, so don't worry. Anyway, back to the nightclub. Rich's persistence at chatting up Helen eventually paid off, and she agreed to let him go and buy a drink from the bar. A newfound enthusiasm was rather short-lived when Rich returned from the bar with a spirit mixer that cost 50p and happened to be the cheapest drink in the place. Somehow he still managed to get a phone number, and then a week later he took her out for a picnic. He got some white wine and strawberries, and he asked her to be his girlfriend, and she replied yes. So. I think it's easy to tell how much Rich feels for Helen, because he's literally always doing things to try and impress her. Now I say try. There was a time in Fort William, we were on a lads' holiday in Fort William, and Rich, he tried to get us all up at the crack of dawn with a hangover so that he could drive, or we could all drive, halfway across the country, 6.5 hours back to Sheffield, so that he could arrive there before Helen got back from work. Just to surprise her, basically. Unfortunately, anyone who knows me and Alex knows that even your average bulldozer wouldn't get us up before 11 AM, so well done Rich for trying, but that didn't work. As Marie kind of hinted at before, there was also the time when Rich and Helen were passing by a kids' BMX track, and Rich decided to try and show off and do a couple of jumps off these kid-sized jumps, basically. And obviously, it was a kids' BMX track.
They're pretty big.
Yeah.
I don't think there's much more I need to say about that, other than that Rich's collarbone is now made purely from titanium. Now, despite all Rich's failed attempts to impress Helen, she did once tell me that Rich had always brightened up her life. Well, I think what she actually said was, "He never turns the lights off." But that's the same thing, pretty much. Some people say the key to a good relationship is all the small things. And I know for a fact that Rich and Helen have got pet names for each other. I wouldn't want to embarrass them too much by repeating them. Well, let's just say, when Rich left to go and work in Virginia for 2 months last year, he left loads of notes around the house in inconspicuous places, saying things like, I love my boo-boo kitty, and Bear loves you. So to Boo and Bear, I thought it would be appropriate before the end of my speech to read out some advice that I found during my research on how to have a happy marriage. So, number 1, the best way to remember your wedding anniversary, Rich, is to forget it once. 2, there are only 2 things necessary to keep your wife happy. Firstly, let her think she's having her own way. And secondly, let her have it. Number 3, the secret to making a marriage last is to go out to a restaurant twice a week, a candlelit dinner, a bit of wine and some dancing. You can go on Tuesdays, Helen goes on Thursdays. Before I go, I'd like to thank Helen for numerous vegetarian meals and frequent use of the spare room, despite me leading her husband from the path of righteousness on occasion. And so, in the words of my ex-girlfriend, I'm going to leave you now. Firstly, I've just got a message to read. I've got to say happy birthday to Layla, who's 3 today. She lives in Plymouth, and Layla is Helen's second cousin. And before I go, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me tremendous pleasure to propose a toast. My best man has found the girl of his dreams, and I can be my best friend even, has found the girl of his dreams, and I couldn't be happy for them both. So if you'll all please be upstanding and raise your glasses to the bride and groom.
Bride and groom.
Patrick,